Hi boys and girls. I wanted to be clear and make sure everyone at home understands what is needed for art class each week. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. The number one thing is that I don't want anyone to buy anything. So let's go over paper first, because paper we're going to need pretty much every week for art class unless we're continuing something from the previous week. Then you would just be using what you were working on already. So any surface that to draw on will be fine. So a couple of things that I have here that are good are regular computer paper. This happens to be cardstock, so any of that is fine. Construction paper is fine. We can, if you have any color and that's what you want to use, for the most part should be fine. I would specify otherwise. Notebook paper would work, would be fine. Maybe you have a sketchbook at home. Something like this would be fine to use for our art projects. And finally, what I think is the easiest to come by is a good old cereal box. So if you have an empty cereal box, these might not be a bad idea to just kind of put to the side when you finish one. And I'll show you what I do with them is, as soon as it's finished, I just cut off these funny edges, and there's already lines there for you, which makes it so easy. So I'm just gonna cut that off. You have what is a nice sized piece of paper. So these are perfect, and believe it or not, crayons, markers, paint, all that will show up decent on top of here. And I just love that neutral color. So you'll probably notice me using this often. So that's paper, that's drawing surfaces. When I say drawing surface, that is what I mean. The next thing that you'll probably need most weeks is something to draw and color with. So of course you can always use a pencil and have a pencil handy. Start with the basics. If you just have any crayons, broken crayons always work, whatever kind of crayon box that you might have. Markers. Some people really want to dive in and use paint, and that is fine if you want to use paint for our project. And there's more than what I'm just showing you here. These are chalk pastels, so if you wanted to use that. Oil pastels, but do know that chalk pastels and oil pastels can get messy and smear on your art surface. I will never ask specifically for these because I don't want to assume every house has them. The same thing with paints and so on. So as long as you have something to color with, something to draw with, that will be fine. I'm thinking each week we'll probably need some kind of drawing surface and some kind of drawing tool and something to color in. So kid-friendly scissors, if you have them, would be great. I'm not saying we need these every week, but we may need them sometimes. And then if I'm going to ask for a glue of some sort, glue stick is probably the easiest, most user-friendly, especially to pack if you're not at home and you're going somewhere and doing art away from home. There's also a glue bottle. If you don't have any of that kind of glue, there is always good old tape of some sort, okay? So those are the four main things. I may randomly some weeks ask you to bring a cardboard tube or something like that, but I wanted to show you the four main categories of art supplies that I will typically be asking for you to use. Whatever I am using could very well be different than what you are using. I don't want anyone to panic if we don't have the same art supplies at the same time. We will be working on the same project and following similar directions. When I do my art projects, I like you guys to be able to have choices and pick from things a lot of the times. But that's also now going to include having even different art supplies to pick from. So just keep that in mind. Don't worry if we're using something different, okay? I'll see you around. Bye.